welcome back to some 0K action. It's going to be 1 versus 1 on the Needle Small map, Desert Needle Small, I believe, and yeah, I've got at the bottom left myself, Nightman, playing as heavy tanks, and we've got player 01 playing as light vehicles in the top right. So there we go, a bit of a difference in factories. I mean, light vehicles, of course, having a slight advantage in mobility. Tanks having a bit of an advantage in firepower and durability, but being a bit slower at the same time. We'll see if I can cover the map to, well, if I can cover it well enough to make heavy tanks work. In either case, yeah, just going for, we'll just go back to that, there we go. Going for an early Kodachi and Panther, then into Welder, then into Panthers after that. And as for player 01, going for a couple of initial Scorchers and no Lotuses or anything like that. Initial Windgen actually, right after the, or maybe right before the Solar Collector. I didn't actually see the build order there, but yeah, apart from that, two very fast Scorchers and then go straight to Mason and interesting, 4 slashes to 10 levelers. So definitely does anticipate heavy use of raiders, and yeah, he actually is going to be somewhat correct there, since I'm going to be having the Panthers basically coming out straight after the Welder itself, most likely. We'll see what happens though. Commander also just going to be putting up his own little Solar Collector wall. Yep, his own little wall up here, probably going to wall off this section here just to keep the base a little bit more secure. And if we just have a look actually, yes, this little hill here is not bot pathable actually, so I only have to worry about spiders and flying units going over the hill this way, so there you go. See how that works out though. Scorch is coming in from player 01, and here we go, we actually have our own Kodachi coming in, and my opponent does not have any radar. Nope, just has line of sight, and yeah, he definitely is going to see the Kodachi now, seeing as it's firing on his precious little Mason. His Scorchers are coming in though, so I might be able to do quite a bit of harassment damage. We'll see what happens though. We do have one Panther to defend. Welder is still taking its time to get constructed. Well, 250 metal, not exactly the cheapest of builders, especially compared to the Mason here, which is now gone, so it's only 140 metal there. But at the same time, it can't defend itself, it's got less health and all that, so yeah, it does eventually get taken out. And Kodachi, yep, now going to be doing a bit more economic harassment. Probably, yeah, should be able to take out the mechs actually. It looks like my opponent is not going to be repairing that. Unfortunately though, the slashers do eventually take it down. I do try to send the Kodachi in to take out at least one of the slashers, and I do actually manage to get one napalm bomb out, but doesn't quite take out the slasher though, which kind of sucks. What the hell, still denying my opponent from expanding. And yeah, well, I do have a bit of a metal disadvantage actually, even from the harassment that I did do, but at the very least I'm taking care of my opponent's harassments. Sort of. I don't know what the hell these Panthers are doing. What order am I even using of them? Well, move order now, so yeah, I'm pretty sure they actually... Oh, actually, do they outrange? No, they don't outrange the Scorcher, actually. I'll just double check. 250 to 270, and the Scorcher's slightly faster as well, actually, which technically means that Scorchers could actually kite Panthers, which is a bit easier said than done, but, well, there you go. Huh, interesting. Huh, okay. Okay, there we go. And there we go, just repairing up that Panther as well. I think I got it repaired up. Well, they're both at full health now in either case. So, very slight army advantage to my opponent still. He does have still that bloody metal advantage, which is kind of annoying. I am expanding a bit more slowly by the looks of things, and my energy is not that great either actually, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if I can make this work actually, especially given the fact that my opponent is switching over to levelers, which my Panthers completely suck balls against. The only saving grace for the Panthers being for the fact that they are a little bit slower. Oh no, not slower, they're a little bit faster than the levelers, I believe. 3.4 to 2.2, indeed. Yes, so they are a little bit faster, I suppose, so they can sort of try to run rings around them and, you know, just go destroy stuff that's a little bit more vulnerable. We'll see what happens though. I do have my Panthers scouting out, and yeah, it looks like my opponent... Okay, his metal advantage is slipping. In fact, I've actually got a metal advantage now myself. So he hasn't actually expanded entirely within his own little desert island either, for that matter. And as for myself though, I am not exactly expanding actually. I'm just going to be apparently building up a radar here before just going on a reclaim spree, it seems. And is it going to be able to do it? Nope, looks like I wasn't able to get close enough to be able to do it apparently. Or maybe at Ford I couldn't. I just don't know. And yeah, actually, yeah, this guy, this player 01 or 01, whatever, yeah, he's definitely not playing like a newbie, to say the least. Does seem to know what he's doing. Structure, logical expand. Yeah, indeed, he could have expanded out a little bit faster, but then again, so can I actually. Instead, I'm just going for a bit of reclaim. Well, I do have one dedicated builder for expansion still. Yeah, I've got a rather interesting way of expanding, to say the least. I don't know what exactly he means by QWOP expand though. QWOP? Quick? No, I've got no idea. And yeah, now since my entire army seems to be basically consisting of Panthers and Kodachis, yeah, they're going to fall pretty hard to the levelers, to say the least. Thank God my opponent doesn't actually have that many of them, and they are spread out as well actually, so see if I can make that work in my favour. And there we go, finally I'm going to be expanding with these 2 welders, and just having a look actually, yeah, my energy should be just fine compared to metal income. Most of it being introduced with, or rather being from, or being produced by the solar collectors rather than being introduced there. QWOP though, what the hell does that even mean actually? It's a very good question. Yeah, well, in any case, yeah, looks like player 01 still continuing to pump out levelers, not too surprising, and just expanding forward with solars and wind gens. So, see how that works out. I do definitely have a definite advantage now. I think I just repeated definite a few times there, but oh well. Yeah, definite metal advantage, not exactly an energy advantage, and player 01 does actually have the army advantage, and he's also got the direct counter to levelers as well, and Kodachis too for that matter. So yeah, if you can make it work though, we'll just speed things up a bit actually, seeing as nothing's really happening at the moment. Okay, we'll speed things up even more. So yeah, just continue to get more levelers, expanding, reclaiming, building a caretaker for some reason right there. And yeah, we do have a couple of darts coming in. Actually managing to take out one of the mixers, not too shabby. And there we go, now we're just going back to regular speed. Bit of a two-pronged attack by player 01, one of them to go towards this expansion, which I haven't really done anything with. The other one going towards the middle. Thankfully for me though, the builder I have out in the open is actually being sent towards the top west, the northwest instead. And here we go, you're going to see firsthand just how effective levelers are versus even Panther tanks and Kodachis. They just, especially when these things are grouped, they just do such an incredible job taking them out that, well, as you can see, I'm just getting utterly destroyed. Panthers can't really do too much, it seems, versus levelers, which kind of makes sense given the fact that these are riots. They're even pushing back my Panthers a little bit as well, actually. So, yeah, still continuing to send in a couple piecemeal there, and yeah, I think ouch is definitely the way to describe it. Player 01 definitely does have the army advantage there. He's not actually pressing forward, despite the fact that he's basically destroyed most of my army for whatever reason. Still have a few Kodachis left, but yeah, definitely going to be switching over to Reapers. Actually, what about, not Panthers, Goliaths would be alright, maybe a bit overkill versus levelers. Where was the... here we go, the Banisher. How does that compare? Definitely costs a hell of a lot more. Much more HP though, and it actually does go slightly fast. Sorry, slightly faster than the levelers as well. 430 range compared to 290, so these things can basically act as skirmishers versus the leveler actually, which is kind of a bizarre thing to think about, given that this thing is meant to be a so-called heavy riot tank after all, but there you go. Huh, well, there we go. Yeah, bizarre little tank indeed. I suppose it costs a lot to kind of compensate for the fact that it's got a very long range for a riot unit especially, but well, there you go. A nice little collection of both Ravagers and Levelers. Should fall pretty easily to my Reaper tanks basically. I mean, assault units in general usually counter riot things, but these Reapers seem to be having a bit of trouble even hitting anything actually. But there we go, finally managed to take out one Ravager, and as long as I can keep both of these alive, well, I can just repair both of these Reapers. A third one coming in, it should be able to seal the deal. Levelers and Ravagers are doing a bit of economic damage, but apart from that, they're mostly just dying, actually, so... And I have to admit, the Levelers aren't doing such a bad job in actually dodging some of the shots, though, but yeah, still getting whittled down and destroyed. Time to repair these tanks, though, to say the least, goddamn. Hopefully I'll be doing that at some point, and yeah, actually building up a couple of wind gens outside of the base as well. The problem, of course, with that approach being the fact that they're not going to be defended particularly well. And we also got a bit nice little air switch for Player 01 going for gunships, and looks like it's just going to be going for 1 crane and 5 brawlers. We'll see how that works out. Same time, we do have a bit of a raid by myself, actually doing quite a bit of damage. And being a little bit cautious, actually, not trying to push in any further, mostly due to the fact that, oh, he's got his own banisher, actually. How the hell did he get that? Does he have a dominatrix? Not from what I can tell. No, he doesn't have any dominatrices and no heavy tank factory, so... Interesting. Maybe this thing can resurrect. Let's have a look. Nope, it cannot. Interesting. Oh well. And yeah, now another enemy attack on the left. They're definitely going to be a bit of a pain in the ass. This time a mixture of Levelers and Ravagers, not such a bad little combination. But against pure Reapers, they'll probably fall. In fact, I'm surprised that he didn't send in a couple of Scorchers just to take care of the heavyweights a little bit more cost effectively there. But oh well, Ravagers, sorry, Ravagers also coming in to the northwest and pretty much destroying my entire expansion. Well, part of it anyway. And as for the builder, I do manage to get the welder out of there safely. In fact, he doesn't even know it's actually there because of the extent of his radar. So there you go, there's that to consider. I do manage to take out the commander actually, which is pretty significant. I do lose one of the Reapers, no, 2 Reapers as a result. And yeah, now I spot the gunship plant as well as the goddamn brawlers. I might be able to take it out as well actually, which would be quite a little victory as well. These tanks, well, yeah, they could have done with anti-air support of course, but I wasn't 100% sure as to what my opponent had actually done. And yeah, as you can see, yeah, definitely managing to damage a bit of his infrastructure, and yeah, level 3 commander. Pretty significant little takedown there as well. What did we have happening here? Okay, we just had a couple of levelers and Ravagers coming in to make things a bit harder for myself. I'm not doing that much economic damage, thankfully. This Reaper, on the other hand, could stand to actually move and get out of there, but it looks like he's actually stuck on the mountain, which is interesting because it makes you wonder how exactly he got that up there in the first place, despite the fact, yeah, because you know the steep enough terrain would just not be vehicle pathable at all. It doesn't seem to stop them from getting stuck on steep terrain from time to time, which is interesting. Because it means that they're, yeah, certainly has glitched a bit. Well, it's just the pathing that's glitched, should I say. I think the vehicle's physics are behaving as expected within the game, but its actual pathing is not that particularly good. And we do have excess on... Well, okay, it looks like Player 01 has actually got quite a bit of excess happening. Let's see, he's got a single caretaker, but it's not actually... Yeah, it can assist the light vehicle factory. It's not though for some reason, and he's not even building from it actually. In fact, he's just building another caretaker there. Yeah, and he's not actually building anything up for some reason. Not really sure why. Just not sure at all. And as for myself, yeah, we do have a couple of copperheads. Very expensive anti-air, but, well, very good versus gunships, although not exactly the best versus airplanes, but at the same time it's the only mobile anti-air that heavy tanks get. I mean, a sort of flak gun wouldn't be too bad versus aircraft if it was a little bit more accurate versus them, because what it does is it basically fires its sort of flak shots and they blow up right next to the enemy, or in the vicinity of the enemy, which is kind of how they normally work in real life, usually anyway, but okay. But yeah. It's... yeah. It's still really annoying when you're playing heavy tanks and you have to deal with airplanes in general, actually. You know, the only mobile defense you have is a damn copperhead. But oh well. I suppose that's a story for another time. Reaper is, yeah, doing a bit of damage actually, and thankfully the cavalry has arrived. So we've got a whole bunch of copperheads just standing back, and Reaper's coming in to blast everything to shreds. So hopefully I'm going to remember to also, yeah, I'm going to remember to actually repair my stuff as well, actually. I mean, tanks, I mean, in general, of course, you want to repair stuff rather than letting it die, because it's cheaper to repair than to build a completely new different unit. In tanks, that's sort of magnified many-fold, simply because of the fact that they are expensive and beefy units at the same time, so you don't really want them to go down too often. Much better for them just to take, you know, relatively shared damage, rather than for them to go down too quickly, then you have to build entirely new ones from scratch. So let's just fast forward a bit. And, actually, we'll just go back to normal speed. We actually do have, yeah, there we go. We do have Scythes coming in as well, actually, destroying my undefended expansions. Reapers, not exactly the best thing to use. I think Panthers or Kodashis would be the best thing to use. But that's what the hell. I mean, at the same time, I'm basically just reaping what I've sown with my tanks in my opponent's base. And yeah, they'll have a hell of a lot more staying power than these Scythes will. I mean, basically, once my stuff catches up to the Scythes, which doesn't seem to be happening, then, yeah, these Scythes will die pretty quickly, while my stuff is basically tackling the opponents head-on, and my Mammoth tanks, aka Reapers, are, yeah, just blasting everything to pieces. Copperheads for a bit of defense as well, and we actually do have the gunship plant being remade. It's definitely not the answer in this case, and in fact, I'm not really sure why I actually even went for the gunship plant. I mean, he would have known that I would have Copperheads out, since they were on his base's doorstep as well, and yet he's still building gun plants. Interesting. A gun plant, rather, should I say, not building multiple gun plants. But in any case, yeah, he's building it, and he's just going to go for 9 initial Banshees, or not Banshees, but Brawlers, and then after that, who knows? We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Yeah, tanks just continue to stream in, and probably shouldn't let them get too separated by the Solar Collectors, to say the least. As the Scythes, though, yeah, they are doing a great job just running circles around my units, destroying a whole bunch of wind gens. Apart from that, not too much else. Thankfully, this wall would stop them basically from getting in. They might be able to target maybe this Caretaker, but that's about it, really. They can't really target anything else behind these walls. They'd have to go all the way around, basically. And I do have a Lotus to help defend against that, so there you have it. There's that to consider. We still do have a couple of Scythes, quite a few Scythes there, actually. Only 5 Scythes there alone. But still, Reapers are absolutely destroying everything. Even these, this Lotus, not the Lotus, the Stinger, known as the medium defense tower, medium laser defense tower in Balanced Alienation. Even that's not enough, actually, just because I've got so many of these freaking tanks. They're basically just rolling straight through, and not really, not really taking that much damage, actually. Wouldn't mind it if they could self-heal as well, but that's probably is expecting a little bit too much, to say the least. So, there we go, another base cleared out. We've got a whole bunch of Rockos as well, and technically they would be the right counter to assault units like the Reapers, but let's just have a look once again at their, get on these guys, but at their statistics. So Reaper and Rocco. So 2.5 to 2.2, so the Reaper can of course move a bit faster. The Rocco does get more range though, I'll give it that. So, okay, it does get that at the very least, but at the very least, I'm still managing to break through. Don't think my opponent actually microed his Rockos at all, and really the only thing he needed to do with them was to give them a fight command, and they would have automatically have kited my Reapers there, but oh well, what can you do? So trying to do a bit of damage to myself using the Rockos, so that's player 01 trying to do a bit of damage to myself, and well, as you can see, I do have a few undefended expansions here and there, actually getting Stardust here just basically to help attack stuff that moves over hill. Also to show a little idea, but yeah, Rockos and Scythe still continue to move into my territory, sniping off my undefended mixers. Really should have built up a couple of laser towers around some of these mixers, in particular the grouped ones, just so I could defend them a bit more efficiently there, but well. Reaper's still continuing to blast the shit out of the Rockos, but thankfully at the very least this time, looks like player 01, he is using an attack order actually, attacking my tanks separately, which thankfully seems to be keeping them alive mostly. I mean, this one here, if this one was getting focused fired upon, which might actually be the case, it'll suddenly get destroyed, and lo and behold, actually does eventually go down, so there you have it. Also doing a bit of damage to the opponent's energy infrastructure. Yeah, this is pretty much the end for him, indeed. Down goes his fusions, and he's only got one single builder left. Where the hell is it though? Oh, there it is. Kind of a bit hard to spot in amongst the yellow terrain there. I mean, look, if we zoom out like that, you're going to have a hard time spotting it. Okay, maybe like that. You're going to have a hard time spotting it when it's standing still, especially without an actual icon to to identify it. And there we go, an interesting little comment by myself there. I could say, yeah, like fighting them just like that, you know, by using the heals and all that, and the fact they did do some sneak attacks. But overall, though, still managing to get the job done. So there you have it. Good game to my opponent. This has been Dame Didovich signing off.